Chapman recounted the grisly slaying at an August 27th hearing, telling the board that he flew to New York from Hawaii months earlier, intent on killing Lennon after Chapman identified with the character Holden Caulfield from the American classic The Catcher in the Rye, and he believed that Lennon was a materialist phony. A lot of people believe that. A lot of people believe that. The Beatles kind of lost their innocence after their breakup, and people just they grew up and moved on from him. The Beatles weren't a very popular band. They were famous, but nobody really talked about the Beatles like they do today in the 1970s, 80s, 90s. This all stuff that the Beatles are the greatest, blah blah blah. That's all boomer stuff today. 1970s, people weren't talking about the Beatles. People were talking about Fleetwood Mac and Zeppelin and the Eagles and all these other great bands, Aerosmith. They were talking about those guys. Nobody was talking about the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, of course. The Beatles were seen as ho hum, the safe alternative in music. While the Rolling Stones were the bad boys, and Aerosmith were the bad boys, and Zeppelin too. Chapman was 25 years old at the time, and he was lurking outside of the Dakota in October, waiting for Lennon, but he never showed. Months later, he returned when he, as quoted by Chapman, after the compulsion started building again. That morning of the 8th, this is Chapman, of course, that morning of the 8th, I just knew. I don't know how I knew, but I just knew that this was going to be the day that I was going to meet and kill him being John Lennon. When Lennon stepped out of a limo with wife Yoko Ono, Chapman blasted 4 bullets into his back just hours before the guitarist had signed an album for Chapman.